Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Megan, and I am the Nominations Director on the Families and Global Transition Board. I'm doing a series of interviews with our 2021 rotating off directors in order for you to be aware of the open positions this year. The open positions term commitment is from October 2021 through October 2023. And the open call for applications will be from March 22nd through April 13th. So today I'm delighted to be speaking with Miriam, who is our FIGT Membership Director, about her role on the FIGT board. Miriam has served as the membership director for the past 2 years and will be offboarding in September. And so I have invited Miriam to share a little bit more about the membership role, responsibilities, and what she has found fulfilling during her term. So welcome, Miriam.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you so much for having me and for the chance to just discuss more about membership.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being here. And so, Miriam, to begin, tell us a little bit about the membership director. What are some of the key responsibilities?
Sure. Well, the membership director plays quite a critical role in shaping FIGT's main offering and expanding its members and the organization. As you know, Megan, that they truly make up the heart of our organization, and they truly are the heart and soul of FIGT. So we work very closely to make sure that our members, understand their privileges that are afforded to them when they join FIGT, and that they, can, access all the resources at their fingertips and know exactly how to make the most out of their FIGT membership. So that's a pretty big part of what the membership director does. And then, of course, the director is also responsible for, identifying and enhancing and proactively engaging with the different stakeholders. So a lot of it is strategically thinking in terms of, well, who could be great for FIGT to join FIGT, and connect those dots and make those connections and enhance those and reach out to those people who you think would be a great fit with FIGT's culture. And as you know, our culture is a culture of giving, right? And we at FIGT are so generous with our knowledge and our expertise. And we truly want to make sure that we are a community of members who are happy to come together and share that. So a lot of that is also, a lot of the work goes into making sure that we stay true to our culture as we expand and as the organization continues to grow. And just constantly, the director is reassessing things like, what are our current privileges, and do we need to, change them, or what makes sense as, times change perhaps. And it's a constant reevaluation of what you offer as FIGT. And it's also a constant, lesson in creative thinking, like what could be, what could the world of FIGT look like? So it's actually quite fun and really interesting to do both of those parts simultaneously, to work with what you have, but then also envision what could be great, and then try to see, you are constantly engaging with different stakeholders and seeing, well, is this possible? Is this not possible? So a lot of it is also brainstorming and asking the board to be your sounding board as you bounce off ideas with them.
Yes, absolutely, Miriam. Thank you for sharing a little bit about what you've been doing as membership chair. And I'm curious about your committee. Do you have a committee of volunteers for membership? And can you speak more about what they do to support you?
Sure. I've had different committee members since I took over. Some committee members are more focused on a particular project, which could be, time bound. Let's say they have some expertise that they can help membership with. So one of the committee roles has been to specifically engage international schools as potential FIGT members. And that was one of the committee roles that we had in 2019 and early 2020. But again, it was a bit more specific and time bound, so that did come to an end at one point in time before the conference. Another role that is actually newly created is our membership or our community manager for our members, for our FIGT members. And it's a joint role that membership and communications thought of together and then executed, because we recognize the need for engaging with our current members in a way that was transparent and consistent and also fun and engaging. And so we came up with this role of a community manager specifically for our community. And, our community is engaging in our Facebook group, and the community manager is in charge of making sure that engagement runs, according to FIGT values, and also making sure that the members are getting all the benefits that we talk about. So that's been one role. And this role has just very recently now been a membership committee role for the past year, but it's just moved over officially to the comms team, to the communications team, since we realized that there's so much synergy and a lot more, we need to be aligned. And so it made sense to now move it over to the comms team. So we continue to work very closely on that front. And the last committee role that I've had, Megan, is trying to form or specifically be in charge of our membership onboarding program. What do we do when a new member joins FIGT, and how do we make sure that we do that consistently? And so this has been the role or the purpose of this committee member, helping to organize coffee and connect meetings, helping to make members feel welcome, and then executing those meetings and making sure that we plan these events regularly to keep in touch with and know who are all the new members who are joining. So they shouldn't just be a name on our screen, but we get to hear their stories as well. So those have been the people on my committee, and I'm very grateful for all their support.
Yes, Miriam, you're speaking into my next question about what have been some of your top celebrations in the past 2 years in this role. And already I can speak into how we're so grateful for your strategic mind and how you've brought in more committee members and that fluidity of how do we communicate as a board and with our community. So yeah, speak more into that, and also what do you envision for this role for the next membership director?
Mm-hmm. Those are two great questions, Megan. I think I'll just be very honest and say that it's been a very challenging term as membership director. And I think no other, membership director has had to deal with the world that we have found ourselves in the past year and a half, since the pandemic has started. So I think one of the big celebrations is that we have continued our work despite the challenges. We have engaged our members despite the fact that a lot of our members have been really hard hit, whether it's international schools who've been shut down for, a majority of the school year, have been in lockdown, or it's our, globally mobile families who have been affected by, everything that has been going on with the pandemic and the lockdown and all the accumulated loss and grief as we talk about in the globally mobile world. So I think it's been, a big, it's been a big challenge, but then it's also each challenge brings its, silver linings as well. So I think that we've seen both sides of the coin where, of course, we didn't have a chance to have a physical conference last year in 2020, which, we all keenly felt that loss. And of course, membership felt it perhaps the most keenly of all, because usually our conference is where our, people come and they love what they see so much about FIGT that they want to be involved even beyond those 3 days of conference. And so I think it's been great that we've managed to keep going. And I think the big celebration is that we found new ways to connect and new ways to bridge, those gaps and new ways to embrace our current difficulties. When, the pandemic hit, we were, really people became, FIGT people, in my opinion, became even more generous. They were sharing what they were doing and sharing tips on coping, how to cope with all the stressful situations we were finding ourselves in. And of course our membership group has really helped. I think it's been a really great thing, because before this it was just the communication was just one way, where FIGT as an organization would communicate with its members. But as you know, Megan, what makes FIGT so special is that the members, how they impact each other's careers, right? And share those resources and make those long-term connections. So I think what membership is really proud of is that it's given its members a platform to do just that. And it's given the members an opportunity to engage, not just with the organization, but with each other. And I think that's what really the value comes through. So that's been really, really important. And I think the other thing that's been really great is to have a membership onboarding program. Because, I mean, if you think about it, Megan, if you join a new organization, and let's say you walk into your first day, you want to receive some kind of, an introduction, and you want to know what, where can you find this, and who do you turn to if you have a question regarding this. And so I think just formalizing that process and making sure that every new member who comes and joins FIGT, is met with a certain program of, okay, well, this happens, then you get this information, then you're invited to an event, then you are, connected to your local affiliate. I think just doing this in a consistent way is also driving for the value of an FIGT membership, but also really helping to make our members feel welcome and appreciated, and making sure that we give them all the help and resources that they need. So I think those are the things that have been really encouraging to see in the past 2 years, almost, well, a year and a half, almost 2 years. And then I think your last question was what kind of improvements could be done in going forward. And I think there's room for so many exciting improvements. One thing I would love to see is perhaps the area of membership retention and advocacy focused a bit more on. We have done advocacy and reaching out to some lapsed members, but it's not been according to any, it's been on an on-off basis, or it's been on a project basis. And I think it would be really great for the next person to sort of formalize this process, or give it a vision, and say, well, how can we ensure adequate membership retention and advocacy? Like, how do we do that? What's, the thought process behind it? And then, of course, consistently executing it would be the next step. But I think there's room for so many improvements and amazing chances to grow.
Yes, Miriam, I couldn't agree more with how you have definitely shaped more of a two-way conversation with our membership community, and the board, and all the different affiliates. So bravo. We definitely have grown in that capacity because of your growth mindset. And I would love to ask also, what do you think are some key competencies that this board director should embody and apply to the membership director?
I think, I mean, this is, I think really have to love working with people. For me personally, this is one of the best parts about this role, is that I get to meet really exciting new people and learn about what they do. And it's really fun. It's great working cross-culturally and hearing from people all around the world. So I think if you have that passion of working cross-culturally with people, and also connecting the dots, like seeing what does one person need, and then how can FIGT help them, and in return, how can they help FIGT? Because again, it goes back to that two-way street. I think that's a key competency to have. And a few other things I would mention are just great creative skills, because sometimes you really have to think outside the box. And then a few other board members will tell you, oh, well, this isn't possible, and that might be a bit difficult to run, but it's your job to think outside the box and be that big thinker, and don't be afraid certain ideas might not be able to be implemented. But the fact is that each time a new person joins the team, they bring with them a fresh perspective. And that's exactly what the team needs. That's exactly what FIGT needs. So don't be afraid of those big ideas, don't be afraid of sharing them. And that's how you get the conversation going. And you never know one thing could lead to another. So I think that's really important. And I think just, the other thing I would say, or maybe the last point, is just really knowing the FIGT culture very well, is I think a really strong point, because as the membership director, you want to make sure you set the right tone with the members, and you want to make sure that they understand that, take a moment to understand the culture of the organization that you've just joined, and sort of welcome people in a way that they truly feel they are joining something special, which I think what the FIGT community is. So it's a lot of being available for one-on-one meetings, and it's a lot of also just not saying no to anything, or not being, again, having that growth mindset, as you mentioned, Megan, is really important. And just a genuine love for working with globally mobile individuals and families. It's great. And sometimes I would also say that you need to be a very good team player, not sometimes, actually most of the time, and all the time if possible, because membership works very closely with communications, as I was mentioning. They work very closely with sponsorship. They work very closely with the administrator. We have to cooperate on many different areas. And it's important that you have those skills where you can work cross-functionally as well, and help support their projects as well, because in the end, everything ties in together. So you need to be able to have that vision that, okay, well, it's not just my area, but actually how can I help the others or help support them as well. So I think that would be important too.
Yes, yes, well said. There's a lot of interplay between the different board positions and the committees, and you are so gracious in your communications, and it's been such a delight to serve with you. I'm wondering, is there any last bit of information you'd like to share?
No, I think we've covered it all. I think the only last bit of information I'd say is that it really is a huge privilege to serve, FIGT as its membership chair, because you truly get to interact with not just the internal people, but also externally, and you get to be the face of FIGT. You get to mention FIGT's work. You get to talk to different stakeholders, and part of what I do, for my own work is just, talking with relocation companies, talking with HR, talking with global mobility specialists, talking with expat families, and you get to show the kind of work that FIGT is actually doing. So I think it's just such a great opportunity, and I joined, to give back to FIGT, but in the end, I always feel like I ended up learning so much more, and FIGT always gives me more than what I could possibly give it. So it's really, really an incredible learning experience, a very humbling experience. And also you get to work with great colleagues who will have your back, like yourself, Megan. So it's one of the best teams I've been a part of. I think I can say that confidently.
Miriam, I couldn't agree more again. And you have such a beautiful and large and generous capacity for this organization and our community. And so I want to thank you for your time and your commitment to FIGT. And for our listeners, again, the call for applications for the open board positions is from March 22nd until April 13th. And you can find the application online at FIGT.org. And feel free to email me if you have any questions about the nominations process at nominations@FIGT.org. Thank you so much and take care.
Thank you.